by introducing the Chinese market and why we decide to penetrate the Chinese market ever since inception. The key reason why we decided to choose China as our main market is because of its growth story. Ever since 2008, on an annualized basis, the IB market has been growing steadily at an annualized rate of return of 15.8%. Now, what does this figure show? This figure actually shows that this market is a very, very thriving market. And a lot of people seem to have the perception that you are penetrating the main cities like Shanghai, Beijing, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, etc. But actually, the key to the success of a Chinese market actually lies in the second and the third tier cities. I'll give you an example. Majority of our clients, about 85.6% of them, they actually come from where? They come from the second and the third tier cities like Zhengzhou, Shandong, Jinan, and Sichuan, Chongqing. So these are cities that we actually focus on, and we believe that for the next 10 to 15 years, based on our estimates, these second and the third tier cities, the IB market will continue to grow. And not only will they continue to grow, we expect them to grow at an annualized rate of 17.9%. How do we calculate all these figures? I think the burning question here is, how do you get all these figures? Now, ever since the first day where we embark on this IB business, we spend a lot of time to calculate our clientele base, to understand our clients. We do a lot of KYC, and from this perspective, these figures are figures that are actual representation of our clients. And based on the actual representations of our clients, we feel that China is a very, very, very big market. It is an extremely big market, big potential, and this is the reason why, as we continue to grow our IB business, China is our #1 market. Now, so the key here is that how do we go about doing it? Now, a lot of people, if you go out of China, if you have clients in Southeast Asia, Singapore, Malaysia, I'm a Singaporean myself, a lot of these IBs, they are focusing a lot on the commission payout, the rebates. But in China, there is an interesting phenomenon. Besides rebates, a lot of them are taking a very keen interest in shareholding ownership. What do I mean by this? We have about 18 IBs on our platform right now. 18 IBs, out of them, 16, and I stress again, 16 of them, that's close to about 80%. 16 of them actually host ownership in the form of shares for our flagship company, which is called Samtrade, and I will introduce that later. Now, so therefore, as we go about growing this business, one very important factor that we always share with the IB is that besides the commission rebate, besides the commission sharing, we always strive to grow this market together through shareholding ownership. And we felt that this is a very, very effective method in growing our business. I give you some concrete figures. We started off in 2008. Right then we were very small, and we started out as a pure education company. I still recall very clearly in 2008 that our revenue per year was, in fact, just a very low 6-digit US dollar. Ever since, from 2008 to today's 2017, 9 years, on an annual basis, our profit margin, our net profit margin has been growing at a 25.6% on a yearly basis. How do we achieve these figures? Solely and purely through shareholding ownership, as well as the typical commission rebates and etc. So the key here is this. Besides this, there's another component. Why am I stressing so much on shareholding ownership? Because Chinese value something very dearly, which is called relationship 关系. So when all of our IBs, we are one big family. We don't just work on the professional front, but we work on the basis of trust and the basis of very, very strong relationship. And through this relationship, we create shareholding ownership, shareholding structure, and therefore we are able to create annualized growth of 25.6% year after year. Okay, just now I was talking about this company called Sapphire Trade. So how do we actually go about growing this Chinese market? We set up an entity called Sapphire Trade X. Okay, now this company, what does this company do? Typically, it is a company that houses all our IBs together. We do a lot of marketing, we do a lot of advertising, and this is our primary holding company for all our IBs. We have 18 IBs as of right now, as of today, of which 16 of them, and I stress again, 16 of them, not only do they have shareholding ownership through this company, they are all big institutional partners. So one thing we discover is that besides this, some of the strategies that we have embarked on are as follows. We do financial education, we do social copying, and the most effective methods of all is managed accounts. In fact, the 16 IBs that we have, 15 of them actually are actively involved in managed accounts, because this is where the money lies. Why? Because managed account structure is a very simple structure. I have 10 investors. These investors do not have to put the money with me. They just open an account in their own name, and we just link all the accounts together, and our masters traders will be the one trading. So this is a very simple structure, and this is a structure that a lot of Chinese prefer because they prefer to have money in their own accounts. So this is one of the best methods in growing the IB business. Now the first one, let me go back to the first one, financial education. Financial education is primarily quite new in China. We do know of a few big education providers in China, but it is still an emerging market. But one very important thing, and we say in Chinese, is called 代课理财. So we have a lot of financial institutions coming to us, working together, and what we do is we regularly do weekly gatherings. We really do weekly gatherings on non-trading days. I stress, and you're right, non-trading days. Why? Because these are days where they will absorb 100% with regards to the financial education. And guess what? You teach them on Saturday, say for example stochastics, RSI, and etc., some strategies. On Monday, they apply it immediately. And voila! The IB business, you can grow your IB business instantly. So we discovered that it has been very effective, especially when it comes to financial education. We always hold our financial education on a Saturday afternoon, preferably at 2 p.m. Why? Because Saturday afternoon, everybody doesn't have to work, and after lunch, everybody's free, and we just drop by, have some coffee, snacks, and we would form monthly discussion groups, weekly discussion groups, weekend discussion groups. So this is one very effective method. Second one, social copying. How many of you here are traders? Traders yourself? No, I guess all of you are institutional money managers yourself, right? No, social copying is a very new phenomenon, right? We at Sapphire, we have 5 master traders. And these 5 master traders, they do algo trading, they come up with robots. And we discovered that social copy trading is another one of the most effective methods in growing the IB business. Besides, if you complement financial education with social copying, I think you got a good mix. And in most of the time is that a lot of traders, they are looking for someone to teach them. But they want quick money also. They want quick money. So if you tell them that, okay, you're going to take about 6 months to learn something, they're not interested. So they say, do you have something that I can instantly apply? And if you have strategies that work, and I stress, strategies that work, do it. They will follow you. And 1 of the most important things that we discovered is that, and this is one of the most effective methods in growing the IB business. Now, the first one, let me go back to the first one, financial education. We when you apply these three methods together, you see that you have room for growth. In fact, enormous room for growth when you are growing your IB business in China. These are three of our best effective methods as we go about growing this Chinese market and expanding our markets. Now, just to share, right now we have presence in, besides the first tier cities, the four big cities of Shanghai, Beijing, Guangzhou, and this Shenzhen. We also have presence in Zhengzhou, Chongqing, Nanning. Yeah, these are some of the cities now, and of course, last but not least, Shandong, Jinan. Yeah, so these are cities that we also have presence in. So the key point here is that this is very interesting. As I've mentioned earlier on with regards to the revenue growth and the profit margin. But what I want to stress is the third point, which is the future growth market. Now, why do I want to stress this? At this point of time, I want to share something. Based on what I've said earlier on, there are still a lot of untapped, enormous potential in this Chinese market. I'll give you an example. If you go to Zhengzhou, what is the most common financial product in Zhengzhou? In Chinese, we call 民间借贷. Basically, you go about introducing a fixed income instruments with very high fixed interest rates, and many of them would want capital guarantee and high interest rates. Now, this market itself, from the first day we enter this market, just Zhengzhou itself contributed close to about 20% of our overall revenue growth. So this is a very, very important point that I want to stress, is that if you guys want to grow your IB business effectively in China, don't look at the first tier market. Look at the second and the third tier markets, because there are a lot of untapped demand, a lot of untapped potential. We are seeing this year after year. Every new cities that we go, Shandong, Jinan is a bit saturated right now. Chongqing is also. But we're looking further inwards. Qingdao, and as I said, these are cities that have so much potential. Why? Because they are looking for a lot of these financial products. Now, we all know what happened last year, right? Close to about 60%